You're watching this, it should be before 2025. Here is a message that your spirit guides want to let you know before the year even begins. So I kind of just wanted to make some space for our spirit guides and ancestors to come through and give us some final messages for the year. Like before we get started on this brand new year, what should we be knowing? What energies are we currently dealing with? What do we need to be aware of? Like, let's just check in and create space for our spirit guides to come through. So if you felt guided to click on this video and you're watching it right now, there's a message here for you. Let's see. We have the 5th chakra coming out in reverse with Archangel Gabriel. Okay, some of you guys have this problem where when it comes to keeping your friends and acquaintances and even mutual friends updated on your life and what's happening, you may be falling a little bit short. That's what I'm just intuitively picking up here. So it's like you may have some really exciting changes and things going on in your life. And for others of you, maybe you have a lot of stress going on in your life. And you haven't really been informing people about that. Okay, so for example, your friends, maybe you haven't been telling them all of the exciting things that you've been doing. You haven't been telling them about the changes that are taking place. But even people like your coworkers or the little conversations you have with neighbors or people like that, when they're saying, hey, how are you doing? And you just say like, oh, I'm good. How are you? You may view that as being friendly, but your spirit guides want to say, like, when someone asks you how you're doing, that's a really great opportunity for you to just really talk about yourself and now listen, I know it's not like this everywhere, but in America, I get it because it's like that is a common way of saying hello. Like when you're checking out at a cashier, they're like, oh, how are you doing? Good. How are you? You know what I mean? It's not an invitation to actually talk to that person. But when it comes to people like your friends, your coworkers, neighbors, things like that, feel free to use that as an opportunity to really share what's going on in your life. Because here's the thing, that is what builds friendships. That is what creates intimacy. So when your coworker, for example, says, oh, hey, how you doing? Instead of just saying, oh, yeah, I'm good. How are you? You can say, oh, well, actually, I have this going on. I have that going on. My brother just broke his leg and I took him to the hospital to get it fixed the other day. And actually, like, I just bought this beautiful new car. Here's a picture of it. And oh, my cousin gave birth. I met the child and I just remodeled my kitchen. Let me show you photos. Whatever's going on in your life, share that, because that is what creates friendships. And for some of you, you may be falling back into an older pattern of yours where perhaps you don't share as much about yourself and what's going on in your life. And it's a very subconscious pattern. Like, I don't think you're doing this intentionally. This just may be a pattern that you have going on throughout life where it's like perhaps when you were younger, you were just either shy, or maybe you were literally taught that, you should make more room for everyone around you and minimize yourself as much as possible. And that subconscious pattern is sort of seeping back into your life to be dealt with. So with the throat chakra coming out in reverse, your guides are saying, make more room for yourself in conversations. Let people know what's going on in your life, and allow yourself to create that sort of intimacy and letting people know who you are and what's going on more often, because that is how you make friends. And life is just so much brighter when you have friendships or like a friendly relationship with the people around you, whether they be your coworkers, your neighbors, etc. It just makes you feel more comfortable. I don't know how to put it. You feel more at ease, you feel more comfortable, like you could just be yourself around people when they do know you a little bit more, when they have seen bits and pieces of your soul a bit more. So that is a message that's coming through. Don't fall back into that subconscious pattern. And then of course we have the 7th chakra coming out in reverse as well. Now this is the crown chakra, which is a little bit more tricky when it's in reverse, because this can sometimes show that either like you're just simply not picking up what spirit is putting down. The crown chakra is where you receive downloads, spiritual downloads and information from higher entities, from universe, but also it's the chakra where you learn. whether that's through reading books, listening to new information, etc. And what I'm seeing here for you guys is there's a lot of new experiences that you are integrating at this time. There's just a lot going on for you. You know, if you're watching this, you must have so many different areas of life in which life itself is sort of challenging you to adapt, to learn, to grow. And that could be scary. You know, it's like some of you guys may be doing something that you've never done before. You know, maybe you are going through the process of learning a skill you've never learned, starting a job that you're not 100% comfortable with when it comes to your abilities to do said job. And there's like a learning curve here. Whatever it is that you're doing in life, there's a learning curve that you've been going through, a lot of changes taking place. And it just feels like that crown chakra is very much like almost overly active is what I'm seeing here. And that can create like a lot of anxiety, especially at night. Like you're just thinking about everything that you need to do, all of the future paths that are available to you, everything that can happen, creating a million contingency plans, and also just like really mapping out exactly what you need to do, when you need to do it by, and it's like it could be keeping you up at night. So this is anxiety. It feels like there's so much new information and new developments taking place in your life. It's just a lot to integrate all at once, creating that overactive crown chakra, and like I said, possibly even keeping you up at night. So Spirit wants to talk about that more, but we're going to continue on. We're going to pull the tarot as well. Then you have Broken Heart coming out as your final energy oracle. And obviously, I mean, this card is quite obvious in its meaning here. There's a heart that is cracked down the middle, and it looks like it's repairing itself. There's a teardrop coming out of it, and that sort of represents that our emotions want to be felt. They want to be moving through us, and there could be some energies in your life that are a bit more sad. And here's the thing that I want to mention that just I intuitively feel like saying. I'm just going to keep saying whatever comes through. I feel like for some of you, you need to hear the message that healing is not linear, okay? Some of you guys may find yourself in these moods periodically, not all the time, but periodically, where you're feeling extra sad about someone or something that maybe didn't work out in the past, you know? Like maybe like a year ago, for example, you got into a huge fight with a friend or romantic partner, and you guys have not talked to each other since. And you may be in a completely different spot in life, you know, and on the surface completely moved on, but occasionally you may still have this longing, this desire to reach out to them. And, you know, that is perfectly fine. Spirit is saying that is perfectly normal. Okay, that's not a reason for you to not live your life, to like wait until you're perfectly healed from that, because as mentioned, healing is not a linear process, and grief, the feeling of grief, is not necessarily something that goes away completely, I feel. And when I use the word grief, I'm not just talking about deaths of loved ones, okay? Grief happens for many reasons. Grief can be felt when a friendship doesn't work out. And again, it's like, don't wait to completely jump into a new friendship or a new relationship because you're still grieving, because maybe that feeling will never truly go away. I have friends who were really toxic friendships, but we were friends for many, many years. And we stopped talking like several years ago, and still to this day, I think about them and have a warmth, like a fondness in my heart. Like, oh, I miss them, you know? That mild sort of grief feeling. Still to this day. It's not every day, it's not all the time, but it's still there when the circumstances are right. And Spirit's saying that's totally fine. That's totally normal for you to experience grief long after the fact, if something happened, you know? Totally normal, totally natural. Don't, you know, try to keep your tears and be like, no, I have to stop feeling a certain way about this. No, you don't, okay? And you don't have to wait to live your life until this grieving period is over, per se. You know, do what intuitively feels right for you, but yeah, that's the message there. So let's get some tarot to just really understand the messages more. We have the Fool coming out in reverse, which actually kind of goes hand in hand with what I was just saying there, because there can be some resistance. Not a lot. I'm definitely not feeling it's a lot, But there could be a little bit of resistance within you when it comes to starting this brand new chapter, whatever that may be, because you may still have some feelings towards the past, you know? Some of you guys, how do I even put this? It's not like you're not going to live your life. You know, some of you may be completely in new relationship. For example, if the grieving has to do with somebody you were romantically involved with, you may be in completely new romantic relationships, or maybe not. You could be like completely content with the life path that you're on with new developments. But like a part of you may be thinking to yourself like, well, oh, what would have happened if that person was still in my life? Like, where would we be at now? What would we be doing now? Instead of marrying this person, what if I was marrying them? Instead of traveling to this beautiful location with this friend, what if I was going with that friend? Like, what if we never stopped being friends? That sort of thinking, you may like almost be like mildly beating yourself up over those thoughts, but I promise you, it's normal. And also, it's very psychic to have those thoughts, because what you're doing is you are connecting via your crown chakra to other realities, like literally alternate realities where that fight never happened or that separation never happened. Okay, so spirit is that is an ability that people have. So if you ever think to yourself like, oh, where would I have been at now if fill in the blank happened or didn't happen? What you're doing is actually connecting to the alternate reality where circumstances were different. But you cannot change the past. And the past does not define you and your future. It defines where you're at presently, because past actions led to where you're at presently. But in the present moment, you have the power to change the course, to change the narrative. So, I don't know. There's that message. We have the Six of Swords coming out in reverse. There is a very reassuring, like, pat on the back validation that I'm getting from a spirit, and it feels like an ancestral spirit for you. Patting you on the back and saying that what happened in the past, it was almost like meant to occur in that way, because you are experiencing, how do I put this? See, I'm picking up on a resistance to this message coming from some of you guys, because, you know, for some people watching, what happened in the past may have been very, very devastating, you know? For example, I'm picking up the energy of someone whose child has passed away, and it's like, what do you mean that was supposed to happen? You know, that was not supposed to happen, and I get that. But the message I'm getting here is like, this is a tricky one. Sometimes things are supposed to happen how they're supposed to happen for a particular reason. And it's like, just giving this reassurance, you did not do anything wrong. You did not make a mistake. No matter what the past is that you're grieving, whether it was a death, whether it was a fight, a separation, or whatever, Spirit is saying, like, release and let go of any personal sense of resentment that you're carrying towards yourself. Any sense of like, oh, things could have been different, or like what would have happened if things were different. Because for a lot of you guys, I'm not going to say all of you, but for a lot of you, the thing that occurred actually has led you to more peace. Not all of you, but a lot of you. Like, for example, breaking up with that person, ending that friendship, changing locations, whatever. It has actually led you to much, much, much more peace and prosperity in your life. And yes, there are prosperous, light attributes that existed within that thing that you no longer have, that friendship, relationship, whatever. However, overall, it was supposed to happen like this, okay? You have the Three of Pentacles coming out. Yeah, and for a lot of you guys, the thing is, like, nowadays, you have people in your life who really see you, who treat you better. And it's like you're in a circumstance in life where your talents, gifts, skills, and abilities are really helping the world, helping the planet. So, for example, if any of you guys, this is a death that you're grieving, it's, how do I put this? It's, even though it sucks, and there's no other message around that message, like, it just sucks, in a strange way, it has given you the ability to, and some of you guys, you're not grieving a death either. For some of, or even a person at all, this could be the death of a path that you thought you were taking in life. Okay, I'm picking up on the presence of someone watching as well who just found out that they cannot have children, for example. And it's like grieving that because maybe that was something that you always wanted, whoever you are. But at the same time, that news sort of propels you towards an alternative life purpose and path that ends up being really well suited for your skills and helping a very large quantity of people. So for example, that example, you find out that you can't have children, maybe that's something you always want, there's a grieving process involved with that, and maybe sometimes you still get a little sad because you can't do that. Okay, however, that might propel someone onto a career path or making a business or a charity or something that they're extremely passionate about, and they're like a leader in that field, and it's like they were meant to do this thing and it just feels so right and they're appreciated. Or if this is a relationship that you broke off, you're in separation, you're not talking to this person at all, it's like currently, this day, you have people in your life who really love and admire you and respect you in a way that that person just could not do before. Okay, and it's like, just because, and you may logically be aware of all of the positives in relation to like where your life is right now, on the path that you're on, having gone through the grief that you've gone through. But you know, that's, even having that logical information is not going to magically make the sadness of it go away. So Spirit is saying like, allow that sadness to move through you, but also allow yourself to see the quote unquote positive attributes of what happened, even if what happened was extremely devastating. Okay, we have the Tower coming out in reverse right underneath that Fool card in reverse. Yeah. Based off of what happened, I feel like you were put onto an insanely different life path. Like you never would have guessed that, like, and I don't know why the time frame of a year is standing out to me. So like 1 year ago, more or less, for some of you, your life may have really flipped. Like you may have been on one path that you really thought you were going to stay on, and now you're like, oh, that's not the path that's happening for me. And I feel like you're at a point currently, at the time that you're watching this, where you have a pretty good idea of what's going to happen on this new path, what you want to do, etc. And I feel like Spirit is going to really, really bring you more and more like life-changing opportunities moving forward. Like suddenly meeting an amazing person, suddenly having a great career, business opportunity, suddenly like life starts moving very, very quickly. That's might be where you're at right now in the present moment. Okay. Center of your spread is the 8 of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah. I feel like your work is cut out for a lot of you. It's like, you know what you have to do. It's just a matter of actually doing it. That could be the thing here. There's a lot of exciting or like big changes and ideas taking place in life. And again, share those with the people around you. Let them in on your life. Okay, life is not meant to be experienced alone. We have the 3 of Wands coming out in reverse right next to that, right underneath the 3 of Pentacles. So it's like, I keep coming back to this message of you already know what you have to do. You just have to do it, because on the other side of doing that awaits this 3 of Wands moment. For a lot of you in 2025, if you keep listening to your intuition and working on the things that you feel called to work on, I am seeing a future path here that is extremely prosperous, okay? And in particular, I'm seeing having the resources, the time, the people around you to really travel. I know that's so specific, but like I am seeing traveling. Like maybe one of your big things is like you always wanted to see the world. You always wanted to just get out there and explore locations without having to worry about resources or, oh, will I have enough time off? Or will I have people to go with me, etc., etc. It's like, I feel that in 2025, if you take action on your intuition, you are being led to those opportunities, those resources to get into that place and really just live the life that you want to live and find new meaning in your life. And it is when you get to that point where you really, really will start to thoroughly enjoy this newer path. And again, for some of you watching, it may be very hard for you to even visualize that, like being happy that things turned out the way that they turned out, with whatever it is that you're grieving. But I know it might sound weird for some of you. I think you're going to be really pleased at what has occurred and how things have occurred once you get to this Three of Wands place. But for now, yeah, there may be a lot of work that will go into that, a lot of repetition, whether that is like the same emotion coming up over and over and over again, and you just having to sit in it and experience it and process it. Or even if this is like literal work, like you have a to-do list, a plan that you've been working on to really show your stuff, you know? Another thing that I'm seeing here that's randomly coming through, for some of you, there's something here about like being more visible, like, and this goes hand in hand with what we were just saying about like allowing people into your life and sharing what's going on in your life. That's allowing yourself to be seen. But this may extend to an even broader sense of the word, especially if you are a business owner or artist or someone with a public following or anything along those lines. Like if you're doing anything that you're passionate about and you want the world to see, or even if you just work a regular 9 to 5 and you just want your bosses to see you and promote you, when you do this throat chakra work, it allows you to really attract that into your life, you know? So working on like being seen seems to be a big spiritual lesson for you moving into 2025. We have the Hierophant coming out in reverse, being yourself. Some of you guys may be really, really craving someone to talk to about spiritual matters or unseen matters, okay? Philosophy, spirituality, these deep, like life-changing experiences, near-death experiences, spirits, aliens, etc. You know, these sort of quote-unquote crazy woo-woo things to talk about. You may be craving someone else who can relate to that, because you may feel not isolated, but it's like that certain part of your personality might be feeling lonely, okay? And so, or also, you know, connecting with people who have gone through similar trauma or like anything that you're grieving really helps. Like, I can't describe it. It just makes you feel like less of an alien, especially if you're going through trauma or PTSD, real PTSD, not, you know, TikTok prescribed PTSD and trauma, the real stuff, the real grieving. It really helps to connect with other people who understand what you're talking about, no matter how very specific, individualistic the experience is. Like, find a support group or people who get you, and those people may be few and far between, okay? But find them. Share your story. Let yourself be seen, let yourself be heard. We have the Two of Wands coming out in reverse as well, which is really funny because if you look at this, it's kind of someone like wanting to see the world. There's a globe next to them. They have these plans here, you know, I guess surfing, traveling in their little van. And right now they're in a very planning stage in their life. The Three of Wands is the representation of those dreams coming to fruition. So again, 2025, it feels like a lot of dreams will be coming to fruition for you. Spirit's just giving you a heads up about that now. And it really is a matter of just taking action on the insights that Spirit sends you, okay? The intuitive nudges, the downloads. So if you find yourself saying things like, I should do this, I should do that, I want this, like I'm starting to want that, take action. There's no point in having these spiritual downloads, this wisdom in your head, these beautiful ideas in your head or knowledge to share with the world if you're not actually physically doing anything with it, you know? saying, oh, I should go to the gym isn't going to make you healthy and improve your mental health and all the beautiful benefits of that. It's actually the physical act of doing it that will bring that reality into your life. So, final card out is the Sun. All will work out. Happiness will be restored to levels that you have never even experienced before. I'm telling you, levels of abundance, prosperity, happiness, love that you have never experienced before. It feels so good. It feels great. And you are working really, you've earned it. You know, you've worked hard for it, you've earned it. And it feels like 2025 is a year where all things will really grow and manifest beautifully for you, okay? So thank you so much for joining me. Definitely watch more on my channel. Like this video, comment how it resonated down below, and add your words of wisdom, affirmations, and just positive energy for other people to see and interact with. Let's spread some good vibes down in the comment section. Subscribe if you have not already. If you want a personal reading with me one-on-one, the link to that is always in the description box, spiritpsychic.org. I also offer my intention oils there, shamanic life coaching sessions there, as well as my online tarot reading course, so check it out. Bye-bye.